Welcome back to the program. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Newsnight. Remember, the SMS line is 22422 and the hashtag is Newsnight. Still here with me in studio is Sheila Masinde. Actually, she's joining us virtually. She's the Executive Director of Transparency International. And here with me physically in studio is Francis Cairo, who's a Policy Officer, Tax Justice Network Africa. And they will be responding to some of your questions, which we want to go through right now. Remember, Twitter and via SMS as well. Let's put the first one up. And on Twitter, these are your thoughts this evening. Wanjohi Wagedinji, you say you agree wholeheartedly with Ledama that people should have leeway to invest where they want and not be coerced to invest in such an unfair country. Okay, well, would you say that about leaders? But nevertheless, you say make your money and invest where you want to. Kenyans, okay, I would use the word. Let's move on. What's the next tweet? James Wanzala, you say what those owners of offshore accounts need to do is to come out, as the president has promised, explain how they got the money, but unfortunately, many of them will not because most of it is illicit. That's James Wanzala. DK Wambua, you say, please ask the panelists, is the Pandora Papers more of a moral or a legal issue? Then we don't have to discuss morality because morality is very relative. Okay, we'll talk, we'll get some feedback from my panelists on that. Clint, you say that the political elites, the likes of Olekina, don't trust any system in the country. Maybe it's education, healthcare. It's ironic. Why can't they make laws that can provide a favorable environment for all systems to run through as the countries that they are running to? This earth is hard. Okay, that's an expression there. It's Kipleting, you say, in my view, offshore banking is often associated with tax evasion, money laundering, organized crime. Tax agencies should improve strict rules and greater regulation on international finance, particularly with regard to offshore banks. All right. Let's see what else we have. Guka DJ, you say, is it morally correct to earn in Kenya and invest abroad by evading taxes? Is that why our economy is dying? If all citizens of this country take their wealth abroad, where will government get money from? Okay, and we have the last one. E.K. Birech, and I wish we had, another lawmaker here in studio, and this discussion we'll continue having, but you say, if our MPs are really fighting or really for fighting corruption, let them pass the Lifestyle Audit Bill 2021, which seeks to remove restrictions on Kenyans seeking to access information on income, assets, and liabilities of persons holding public office. Thus, if this bill is passed, Kenyans will then be able to access that information. And on our SMS line 22422, I'll just read one or two. We are out of time. One viewer here, no name or where you're writing in from, you say the biggest cash outflow in Kenya is multinationals transferring their money, not just individuals transferring offshore accounts. Why don't investigators check on that? And someone here is saying our lawmakers need to do more to benefit this nation. And Jerry, you say, I don't agree with the senator. Where foreign companies invest in Kenya, they repatriate as much money back to their home countries. Shouldn't Kenyans investing abroad repatriate their money back to the country? Okay, we had a bit of a challenge with Sheila. Sheila, can you hear me now? Okay, not yet. We'll have our own as soon as possible. Francis, I want to give you a chance to respond to some of the questions, the morality, legality question, and then we'll get the way forward shortly. Okay. But you can respond now.
Yeah, thank you. Kenyans invest abroad often. We have Kenyans who are investing in Rwanda, some are in Tanzania, some are actually in Dubai. But when they do it openly. They do not do it behind a veil of secrecy. They do not use complicated corporate structures to invest. Some of them fly in with the goods they have bought from, those countries. They do not hide. And therefore, we are not saying that Kenyans should not invest abroad. We are only saying that there's an international financial system that favors the rich, the powerful, and those that have access to lawyers and other enablers that can advise them on how to hide your name, hide your wealth, and ensure that even if we wanted to get your wealth that you have made illicitly back into the country, it is almost impossible. The question of morality versus legality. A few years ago, Wahiga, it was illegal for you to do poaching. It was legal. You could actually get a license to do it. It is actually us as a society that redeemed ourselves and got to a point of saying, there's something wrong about poaching. There is something wrong about doing this to our environment. And therefore, we came up with laws and we started punishing that. And I think, therefore, when we have a conversation about morality, laws often develop when systems, when people come together and say, within us as a system, this is wrong, we have to change this. The other question is, why run away? If you're making your money here, why run away? If you're a politician who we have entrusted, with our systems, why run away? I think this is the question we're asking. If you're deriving your profits here, why are you taking them to another country? Doesn't our country need them? In addition to that, about the access to information, but I think it's a fair point. But lastly, about MNEs, that MNEs are the culprits. But we are saying... Multinational enterprises. We are saying that behind every multinational, there is a beneficial owner. There is a human being. We should stop seeing multinationals as just entities. There is a beneficial owner. And that is why the Pandora leaks are now out to say that the beneficial owners behind all these good companies that you see, making profits out of Venezuela, the Czech Republic, Kenya, and every other nation, are these people. And therefore, even as we say multinationals are doing it, there is a beneficial owner. And this is why the international financial system is shedding light on who these people are, so that even as we reconcile with this as a society, we can ask ourselves, how do we deal with the beneficial owner that goes ahead to make profit from us and then hides it using a complicated corporate structure away from where they made their wealth from?
Okay. As your parting shot, before we get one final one from Sheila, what's the way forward and when are we going to hear the rest of the leaks? I'm sure the country's political class is waiting to see.
Yes.
And hear which other names might be out soon.
Yeah, whether their names are there.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
I'm sure there are people who are still worried, but I think what this is doing is shedding light. And we keep saying that sunlight is the best sanitizer. And so as we are shedding light, we are ensuring that people can keep track of where their money is. They can keep track of who the people are, and the people that they are putting in certain positions of power, understanding their wealth, understanding where they put their wealth. And I think as a parting shot, I would say that greater corporate transparency is required, not just at the national level, but even at the international level. But secondly, we need to bring our wealth back. We need to trace wealth. We cannot have a system that relies only on leaks. We need national agencies to have the capability and the ability to be able to trace this wealth and where it is found to be brought back. But most importantly, not being inactive. We had other leaks. We had the Panama leaks. Other countries ran away with it. They prosecuted the people responsible. They went after their wealth that was hidden in offshore accounts. As a country, we didn't do anything. I think it is high time now, even as these names come along, to identify, have this conversation about if wealth has been made illicitly, let us trace it. Let us bring it back. Thank you. Here.
If we have Sheila on the line, I can give her one final word. Sheila, I don't know what's been happening with your connection, but let me also give you a chance for your parting shot on this discussion that we've been having this evening. I don't know if you've had any of the questions, but what's your last word?
No, I think I've missed most of the questions, but my comment really based my own overall take from this discussion today is that obviously the release of the Pandora Papers is really a watershed moment for global finance transparency and even financial transparency here in Kenya. As I said earlier, it really emphasizes the need for us to rein in on largely lawless offshore industry globally. But also at home, as I mentioned earlier, it underscores the need to really relook at the implementation of some of our laws and also the gaps inherent in some of them, like the Public Officers Ethics Act, and also about time to consider having the Lifestyle Audit Bill, Lifestyle Audit Act. There's a bill currently at the Senate, sponsored by Senator Fahia, and I think it is important that it is considered, particularly because it seeks also to repeal a section of the Public Officers Ethics Act, which will then make it possible for this information that is shared as wealth declaration to be publicly accessible. But also, I think moving on forward, because it's also important to look forward, is that we of course now await for, the president has given an undertaking that he will give a detailed response in regard to the naming of his family in the investigations. And I think that when he does give that information, we'll of course be looking to see in regard to whatever he says, what are the sources and the amounts of funds that have been deposited in the offshore companies, and also what have been the tax benefits to the individuals concerned, or the other tax and economic liabilities to Kenyans. I mean, we've had this discussion on what does, stashing money abroad really mean in terms of socio-economic development, and it's really a discussion that we must have. I think in regard to the Panama Papers of 2016, there's been a lot of progress since then. We've seen the recovery of public funds across the world. I think is it $1.36 billion US recovered so far in back taxes and penalties, and almost 150 investigations opened following the Panama Papers. So I think, and authorities are still continuing to pursue civil and criminal cases following those Panama Papers 5 years ago of those accused of money laundering and corruption. So similarly here, we hope that authorities will look into this report, follow the money trail to ascertain if funds were legally acquired, and if not, then take the appropriate action. Because I think it's important really that then Kenyans or people across the world get justice in the event that there was corruption or a crime committed in regard to how some of these funds that have been stashed abroad were acquired.
Thank you, Sheila, for that. The president did say at the tail end of his statement that the Pandora Papers and subsequent follow-up audits will lift the veil of secrecy and darkness for those who cannot explain their assets or their wealth. And of course, he promised that he will soon respond comprehensively once he returns from his visit. And of course, that's something Kenyans will be waiting for, but also waiting to hear what else is in the Pandora Papers, which the tax justice representative here has promised will come out soon and could be equally as explosive. And that's something we'll cover here at Citizen TV and give you updates as and when we get them. This is actually a discussion where we hope to also talk a little bit about illegal transfer of money within the country. We've seen scandals in the past where money is transferred from one bank to the other without legitimate sort of source, not legitimate information on how it was acquired, whether legally or illegally. But I'm guessing that's a discussion we're going to have to put on hold for another time. To my guests, thank you so much. We've had here in studio with me, Francis Cairo, who's a policy officer at the Tax Justice Network Africa. We also had the Senator of Narok County, Ledama Olekina, who stepped out earlier. And joining us virtually was Sheila Masinde, the Executive Director of Transparency International. We certainly hope you have learned a bit more about offshore accounts and the mystery and controversy that surrounds them, and the questions that Kenyans need to ask and what Parliament may need to do as well. Well, at this point, we wrap up Newsnight. Many thanks for having joined us for this discussion. Without you, this wouldn't have been possible. And on behalf of the whole team that's made this broadcast possible, from 9 o'clock when we started, 9 p.m. till now, we say thank you. Our sign language interpreter this evening has been Wilson Mushora. Good night. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. My name is Wahiga Mwaura.